Welcome to the Art of Classiness podcast, a show where we redefine what it means to be a classy lady. And sometimes it's messy. I'm Robin.
And I'm Deborah, two friends turned classy ladies who are here to discuss life's ups and downs, navigating the complexities of adulthood, and how the gift of friendship is essential to belonging.
Today we're throwing it way, way back. This is a love letter to the early 2000s, the era of away messages, burned CDs, cargo pants, and personality-defining eyeliner.
We're talking mall culture, emotional AIM warfare, what it meant to be cool back then, and the toxic little trends that low-key shaped our entire generation. If you ever wore a baby tee with two belts, this one's for you.
Let's get into the nostalgia and maybe cringe a little together. And as always, follow along, give us your feedback, and don't forget to like and subscribe. What's up, classy ladies and gentlemen? Debbie, let's check on in. How are ya?
Oh, yeah, you hit me up with the Debbie today. Here we go.
I gotta do it every now and again.
You gotta sprinkle it in. I don't mind it.
Well, and I think it's apt for our topic today.
It's apropos. It really is. I am visiting my parents in Michigan. So I am in my parents' basement right now. And yeah, it's given me all the nostalgia, which is perfect for what we're going to talk about today. But really, it's been a very jam-packed trip, and I didn't anticipate that. I thought we were just kind of lay low with my parents. But man, the boys have just really been having like a whole other vacation here, which is awesome.
Aw, that's great.
You have to understand, I grew up in a very idyllic environment, like truly Pleasantville level of safety and boredom. So, like, for example, we got some bikes for them to borrow, and I completely trust them unsupervised to ride their bikes around where I grew up because that's how safe it is. And they rode their bikes to the alpaca farm and then down to like the drugstore where we gave them some money, and they just came back with as much candy as they could possibly afford. Just a whole bag full of like sweet tarts and Mike and Ike's and Gushers. And today they did the same thing, and they went to like the local bakery and bought a cookie and like rode their bikes back. And it's just been really cute and fun. So thankfully they're at the movies right now with my dad. So getting some good quality time with him. And we're just really enjoying the comforts of being at my parents' house.
That sounds so nice.
Yeah.
What a flashback. They're reliving your childhood.
100%. And it's funny because, you know, when you're young, you're like, this place is boring, you know, and now I'm like, I revel in the fact that they get to really just play outside and be kids and that they have that outlet. Because even though I live in the suburbs of the city, I still live, you know, kind of city life. And so they don't always get to just run around and be as free as they can be here. So I'm glad that they have that opportunity. We also grew up in the water. So I love being surrounded by water. I love just like looking out and seeing it. And they went to the yacht club that my mom's a member of. And so it's just, I always just feel so much contentment when I come home to visit.
Aw.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay.
Love that.
What about you? What's going on?
Well, speaking of 2000s nostalgia, I am breaking out like a hormonal teenager.
Oh, fun.
My acne is so bad. And coincidentally, Seth decided he wanted to do like this 3-day juice cleanse. And so I decided to jump on board and see if like resetting my gut can spark some smoother skin. I don't know. It's driving me nuts.
Yeah. At this point, our bodies are like a very complex domino game where one thing just sets off a series of reactions, but you don't exactly know what that one thing was. So yeah, sometimes it's gut health, sometimes it's food, sometimes it's the air, humidity, or if it's too arid. Like, we're such sensitive little microchips.
Seriously. Yeah, it's been very frustrating. So we'll see how this cleanse goes. Today's day 1. I'm already starving. But it said we can eat some raw fruits and veggies. I just need to go to the grocery store to pick it up. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Other than that, we've just been enjoying a whole different kind of summer.
Yeah.
Than I've ever experienced in my life. And it's been a dream.
You're in a sweatshirt right now as we record.
Yes.
And that just really says so much.
My literal dream is to wear a hoodie every day. And boy, do I.
Dreams really do come true.
Yes. Well, let's move on to our classy convo. In this episode, we're going to dive into what friendship looked like at the turn of the millennium, which Deborah and I are a few years apart, but we experienced a lot of the same things regardless. You know, sleepovers, dramatic three-way phone calls, chain emails, and the sacred art of making a mix CD.
Truly an art form.
Truly. So I'm really excited to dive into this. Like, I've done some extra research to jog my memory,
Mm-hmm.
and the nostalgia is ignited.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, warranted.
Is that right? Is that the word I'm looking for?
100%. Yes, I love the delicious nostalgia of the turn of the millennium because as millennials, we were right on that cusp of truly watching our civilization change. And obviously, we're not the only generation to do that, but it was really during our absolute formative years. So not only did it impact the clothes that we wore, the music that we listened to, the way that we communicate with each other, but all those things served as the background to a time where many of us were making what would be our lifelong friends. So we're really excited to just go way back, think about those awkward late teen years and how that really set the pace for the types of friendships we would have, hopefully for the rest of our lives.
Let's set the scene.
Please.
Okay, it's 2002, 2003. You just burned a CD called Nobody Understands Me, Volume 7.
Yeah. The volumes.
The volumes. It's all illegally downloaded music. And you listen to it on the way to the mall. And you're going to be wearing your Lip Smackers Dr. Pepper gloss. The flavored gloss.
Oh, yeah. You bought it because you wanted to eat it.
Yes. It's so true.
Going back to the burnt CDs, this is really an art form that I feel like is lost. And don't fight me on this. You can't replicate it with a playlist. Okay. It's just not the same. A burnt CD and a playlist are not the same thing, even though the thoughts and intentions may be similar. The time it took to burn a CD, because you're right, you had to find a version online. Most of it was illegal. So you would get a song downloaded and you would hear like, DJ Khaled, or like you would have these like radio edit voiceovers just to kind of stop you from having like the full blown version of it. So then you'd have to like, I gotta get a different one. But there was also an art form to really curating an experience. Like one of my friends from high school did an amazing, impeccable job at burning CDs. And she would include little interludes like movie sound bites or show sound bites, or sometimes theme songs for TVs as just like a little interlude to kind of like set the pace,
Oh, wow.
And the last song on the CD told you everything you need to know about the intentionality of the person who gave it to you. So if a boy gave you a CD and that last song was, I'm falling even more in love with you, you're like, oh, he got it, man. You're like, there it is. I knew he liked me. I knew it because the last song was everything. And I missed that time.
That reminds me that if you were dating someone, you had a song.
Oh, yeah.
Which that song was very popular, Lighthouse. I remember that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's how I found out one of my friends liked me. He's like, I heard this song, made me think of you. And he sent it to me, a WAV file over Instant Messenger. I was like, Dave, I didn't know that's how you felt.
Oh my gosh. What a time. What a time. And the other layer to illegally downloading music is that we were all terrified that we'd go to prison.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we would do it regardless.
Somebody I knew in college was put in internet jail for illegally downloading on LimeWire. Like she could no longer use the university network unless she was in the library, and they heavily monitored her site traffic. And she was like on internet probation for like 6 months.
Yeah, it was very real.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was not a fake rumor.
No.
It was very real, but we all did it anyway. I used LimeWire and Kazaa a lot.
Yeah. I started with Napster, and then I moved to LimeWire when I got to college.
Yeah. Oh, man.
What a time.
What a time. And we're just getting started.
Just getting started. I know.
What were you wearing in the 2000s?
Here's the thing. I have never had what some people would call fashion sense. My fashion style, I would describe as it was on sale.
Yeah.
And even growing up, I feel like my parents really adorned me in just the kinds of clothes that you would see in the backdrop of a daytime talk show. You know how they always tell the audience members, like, wear something plain, jewel tones, nothing too flashy. Like that was kind of my style, even as a child. I remember just having a red shirt, no logo, nothing, just a red shirt or a green shirt or like blue shorts. I was an NPC, basically. I was the original NPC. Just. And so I never really went too heavy into fashion one way or the other, but you would always catch me in what I would call a zippy, which is the zip up hoodie.
Oh, yes.
Catch me in a zippy. There was one red zippy that I would try to match with just about everything. Everybody had their comfort style, like accessory or piece of clothing that you wove into every single outfit that you wore.
Yeah, it's so true. The zip-up hoodie was very, very popular back then.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I remember when I got my first non-zip hoodie, and my life was forever changed.
Mm-hmm.
And I still live by that today.
Yeah. I still love a good zip-up.
I'm not a zip-up person.
No.
I have them. I'll wear them. But it's not my go-to.
I hear you.
But, like... Thinking of our intro script, like I was the baby tee layering over a long sleeve shirt. I would wear 2 belts and I wore men's Dickies with the hard shell Adidas shoes. People told me I looked like Avril Lavigne, and that was a very high compliment.
Oh, okay. Why you got to go and make things so complicated, you know?
I didn't even mean to. It was, I guess, a subconscious thing. But then I was like, hell yeah.
No, that's an Avril Lavigne lyric.
No, I know.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, like, that was just the trend back then. In fact, I feel like the men's Dickies thing with the 2 belts, maybe it was more universal than I thought. But when I started doing it in high school, the popular kids started copying me. Or at least that's how I like to remember it.
Oh, yeah. Trendsetter.
I was a trendsetter.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in band and theater. So cool.
So cool. They obviously were copying you. I think that's irrefutable.
Well, here's the thing. They complimented me. And then I saw them wearing like a preppier version. Like they'd get the women's Dickies.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted the baggy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool.
Excellent. So that's what we were wearing. Let's talk a little bit about the technical landscape that formed those years, because we were at the forefront of just hyper growth with technology. And even though kids today are in a completely different world of technology, we were the pioneers. And a lot of those tools shaped the way we communicated and shaped the way that you managed your friendships at that time.
It's true. So when I was in high school, I was 16 when I got my first cell phone, and you had to pay for text messages.
Mm-hmm.
And then to get online, it meant no one could get on the phone.
Yeah.
There were very specific rules to be internet surfing or communicating technologically with people.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were home, you were on your computer. That's the cool thing to do.
100%. You got home, you got online right away, and you would just hear all the doors open on Instant Messenger. Just a little hinge sound. And you're like, here we go. The party's getting started. Let's talk about what we just experienced in the school day, or let's make plans for this weekend. Like, it was a party online.
Or some people would just get on to set their away message with some cryptic lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to guess like how they were feeling based around that. Or maybe sometimes the lyrics were directed towards you.
And you're like, what?
Is that about me? Are they mad at me?
Let me ask you this, Robin. What was your AOL screen name?
Rockin' Robin 587.
I want you to know how uncomfortable I am sharing mine.
I'm so excited.
My AOL screen name was Dirty Debs.
Did it have like some X's on either side?
No, I didn't even mean it to be sexual. Like, that's how naive I was. I didn't know that people would take that sexual. I was just kind of a scrub. I was just kind of like a gross girl, you know? And it rhymed, and I was like, Dirty Debs, you know? Like,
that rhymes?
It had alliteration, not rhymes. It had alliteration to it, my bad. But Yeah, now it definitely sounds like I was just like hoeing it up in high school when like that
It sure does.
could not be further from the truth, but my screen name was Dirty Debs.
I remember having a crush on a boy, and because we would chat at all hours of the night, like we would send each other emails, and I would just sit there waiting for my email to notify me, "You've got mail."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just one sentence back and forth.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Your emails were just a thread of its own if you weren't on Instant Messenger. Like, oh my God, what a time.
And this is also right before Facebook. So social media wasn't quite a thing. However, there was LiveJournal and Zanga, it was an online diary.
Mm-hmm.
It was pre-social media trauma dumping.
Yeah.
And if you knew someone's username, you could read their stuff. And if people commented, that's how you'd figure out other people's accounts. And so you could like kind of snoop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I never did LiveJournal, which is insane because I would later go on to have my own blog.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad I didn't because I would have shared just so many unnecessary things about my life if I did.
Yeah, I went back years later and deleted everything.
Yeah, good idea. Get this off.
I was like, what's wrong with you? I wasn't a huge poster. Like, I mostly like read other people's and would comment and stuff. But just the way we put it all out there. The internet was a different place back then. When did MySpace start? I feel like MySpace was a thing. Like 2001? 2003. Yeah. It started in 2000. Because I remember I was still in high school because like to be in someone's top 8 was a big deal.
Oh, yeah. That was the beginning of let's just share our lives online. Everyone's going to know who I'm friends with, who is my best friend, who I'm dating now, because now they're not my number one. When you're done with that relationship, boom, out of the top 8, you're done.
Or if you're just mad at a friend.
Yeah, bump down.
Knock them out. And then everyone knows. Everyone knows.
Truly diabolical to make us rank our friends publicly like that. But we did.
Yep.
Without question.
Sure did. Learned how to code.
Learned how to code HTML.
Adding in a song to perfectly reflect your mood. And I think people still do this today, but it was a whole other level of like using music to say what you couldn't.
Yeah. Whether it's having a song start playing as soon as you open someone's MySpace or putting cryptic lyrics in your AOL away message or bio. Like we had access to music in a way that we hadn't before.
Right.
Before it came on the radio, if you had a boombox with a tape recorder, sometimes you could record that shit and get a little bit of the DJs talking over it. But for the most part, you got the music that was given to you or that you went out and bought. And that shit was not cheap. I think the cheapest was like $12 a CD, which is a lot of money for that time.
Yeah.
And more than you could make in an hour, hands down. So being able to finally get access to all this music and getting access to the internet where you could look up, wait, these are the lyrics. And like, I'm going to copy and paste these lyrics. Like, we were able to sort of share that side of ourselves for the first time in a way that previous generations had not.
Yeah, it's kind of iconic.
It is. It sure is.
If I do say so myself.
Mm-hmm.
And this reminds me, you talked about cyberbullying. Here's another form of bullying. The 3-way call where you don't know that third person is on the phone and the other person is just baiting you to say something about them. You're just trying to gather information, like whether they want to catch you in a lie or find out why you're upset with them because you haven't told them, like whatever it is. That is diabolical.
And there was no way to vet that out unless the other person was like not on mute and you could hear them laughing or something. We were just kind of like highly suspicious because like you didn't know when you were going to get caught doing something or saying something shitty. Yeah, I definitely remember being bamboozled a few times with a 3-way call attack.
I know that teenagers face their own challenges today, but when I think about the theoretical minefields you had to walk through.
Yeah, it just goes to show you that people can be cruel in any circumstance, and I know that online bullying today far exceeds what it was.
Totally.
When we were younger. I mean, take the Coldplay cheating scandal. It wasn't even 14 hours after that couple was caught essentially having an affair by Coldplay that everybody knew where they worked, who they were married to, their spouse's Facebook page, who got promoted when, like their entire story in less than 24 hours was out for the world to consume.
Honestly, we dodged a bullet. I feel like we were in that perfect window, like right before technology took off.
Mm-hmm.
And like we avoided using AI in college.
Yeah, we actually had to learn.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like it was this perfect combination of like exposure to the internet and cell phones and technology without it like taking over our lives the way it does today. Like it took over our lives in a different way, but because it was so new, like it was an exploration.
Yeah.
And now it's just a commonality.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Today's youth is entitled to all of these different technologies, whereas many of us, even though we experienced some, didn't have access to all of it. Like you brought up the texting. Like I didn't text until probably 2010 because you had to pay per text. And that's why you have acronyms like LOL, BRB,
Yep.
TTYL, because that shit cost money.
It sure did. Yeah, the T9 texting also, like, it's just easier to send some letters.
Mm-hmm.
And the little winky smiley face.
The emojis. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're welcome, Gen Z, Gen A.
Yeah, gave you everything for sure. So yeah, I think the technology landscape that we had to navigate through was a gauntlet. It brought out some really great things like being able to share and maybe find a community online where you couldn't physically around you for the first time. Like if you were quote unquote weird or emo and nobody else in your high school got it, you could find that community online for the first time and really start to explore other people and make friends, sometimes with people that you had never met.
Which is also dangerous.
It can be dangerous. We didn't know. But sometimes people like genuinely had relationships primarily online. Like my Canadian ex-boyfriend, our relationship was primarily through AOL Instant Messenger. Like that was how we got connected with each other. We would talk every single day. Like that was our primary tool of communication. And that sustained us for like the entirety of our relationship, which is so funny.
That is amazing.
And also where we broke up was over AOL Instant Messenger.
Who didn't get broken up through AOL Instant Messenger? Who didn't?
Yeah.
You break up, and that's when you put the really sad lyrics in your away message.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that just would evolve over time to the Facebook status or reposting a lyric on Instagram. So it wasn't just technology that kind of framed the way that we communicated and had these friendships. Our entire outside world and availability of third spaces and just general activities to do also was very different than what generations are experiencing now. Let's talk a little bit about mall culture, some of our girlhood survival tactics, and the social hierarchies that came along with it.
Mall culture was a social currency.
Mm-hmm.
Who you were going to the mall with, what you were wearing, and what you were doing at the mall. Where were you shopping? Were you at the arcade? Were you going to the movies? Were you going to the CD store?
Mm-hmm.
Where were you getting your clothes? Where were you eating at the food court? Like, it was a whole thing. It was a whole fucking thing.
I literally just tasted the McDonald's fries dipped in ketchup sitting at a booth in the food court at my mall. We had this food court that also had this giant glass atrium above it, and there were birds in there. And I mean, I don't know if they were supposed to be or not, but there were always birds in there. And the booths had like a glass partition in between them. And I just can picture myself sitting in these booths, like eating McDonald's fries, because that was probably like all I could afford, and just looking around, who's here? What kind of guys are here? What other girls from our school are here? Where are we going to go? Just that was the place.
I remember like being in the music store, and you had to be very strategic about what section you were in. Because if a certain kind of person came in and saw you in the, I don't know, what was it cool to listen to back then?
Spice Girls.
Spice Girls. Yeah, Backstreet Boys.
Like people they didn't want to admit that they were leaning into pop because we spent so long being angsty. So if you're like, there's kind of a new song out, like you did not want to be. Britney Spears, when Britney Spears first came out, there were a lot of people who were like, I don't know if it's cool enough to say that I listened to a 15-year-old pop princess.
Yeah, pop is so cool now. It was so not cool back then.
Mm-hmm. It was not cool. No.
When I was in like 5th and 6th grade, yeah, Spice Girls, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, New Kids on the Block.
Mm-hmm.
But once you got to high school, if you were still into that kind of music, that's when you got made fun of. So you had to be very strategic about what CDs you were buying in front of other people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then other times you prayed that they wouldn't ID you when you would try to check out like Dr. Dre or DMX. I remember getting my hands on DMX's album, Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood. And the album cover, he is like standing in a bathtub just drenched in blood. Okay. This was very explicit, like do not let children under 18 even look at this album. Somehow I got my hands on it. And when my dad found it, I was like, my life is over. I was like so weird. I was never going to be able to own another CD again. He made me play it in front of him. And like, it is just the most ratchet album ever. And I just was so mortified that he knew that that was music I was listening to. So funny.
Oh, can't believe he made you listen to that. Oh, man. That's rough.
I know. Or like Eminem, like when Eminem dropped in like 2000, that just changed the game, especially being a white girl from Detroit.
The Real Slim Shady.
The Real Slim Shady came out and that changed everything. And that's kind of why pop music wasn't cool, is because you had this other wave of music with like, D12 and Eminem and Dr. Dre coming back on the scene where you're like, no, we're not going to listen to the Backstreet Boys. Like if you're older than 12 years old, like get out of here. You're not going to listen to that.
Yeah. And I do also, like as a white girl, listening to Mike Jones, Chopped and Screwed.
Yeah.
Who?
You're like, he gets me. He gets me.
Oh, it's one thing that my brother and I like got along.
That's sweet.
Listening to Eminem and Mike Jones.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, mall culture, like it was a whole scene. The fact that malls aren't anything close to what they used to be is mind-boggling. Like the mall in my hometown is not a mall anymore.
Same.
They turned it into something else.
Yeah. And the ones that do exist, usually there's like one movie theater that's anchoring them and like 2 or 3 hobby stores, Yeah. And it makes me sad because, as I mentioned before, these third spaces were so important to our development. Like we were in school and then you would go home, but to have like a third place where you could go and socialize and meet people was so integral to our development, not only as people, but with friend groups. And like you said, developing and understanding where you were in a social hierarchy and just being outside and out and about in the world versus just living online and watching other people live their lives.
Well, and it was a place that our parents didn't feel like they needed to be monitoring us.
No.
Not that they monitored us very much in general.
No.
But getting dropped off at the mall, getting picked up, like you're inside a building.
Mm-hmm.
And so in their minds, you're safe.
Yeah, I do miss the mall era because it just gave you an extra vehicle to, mingle, meet people. You would get a boyfriend in a day. Okay. You would go cruise the mall. You would see other guys your age. You'd be like, want to walk around? Okay.
Yep.
You want to be my girlfriend? Okay.
Yep.
And like, it just was fast and loose. What a time.
The coolest thing was when you knew somebody that was working at one of the stores or the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh yeah, my friend works at Claire's. We can go say hi.
Oh yeah. I worked at the frozen yogurt counter inside of what is now Macy's. I can't remember what it was before. It was 1,000 other department stores before that. So I got to serve soft serve ice cream at the mall. And I think I got a discount at the food court. And I met a guy from another high school and we like dated for a hot minute. And that was just prime teenage. Oh, it was a teenage dream, like Katy Perry said.
Wonder what teenage dating is like now.
They don't. I don't think they do it.
I actually love that.
I kind of love that too. It's sadder, but it's also like, don't worry about that yet.
Yeah, it's not something you need to focus on. Like, you're still discovering who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to be dating.
Enjoying being young and dumb.
Enjoy being young and focus on friendships.
100%.
Building those lifelong friendships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So looking back on mall culture and just the way that we spent our time outside of our house and how important social hierarchies were, what do you think that your role was in that time within your group of friends or just socially?
So in high school, I was in band and marching band. So that was kind of part of my identity because I hung out with all the kids that were in band. I was also the kind of person, like I played a lot of sports. I didn't try out for the teams in high school, but I played sports for the city till I was like 15. So I kind of knew everyone. Everyone knew me. I wasn't popular, but I wasn't what do you call it?
Like a nerd or a dork or a loser.
I wasn't a reject.
A reject. A reject. A reject.
Yeah, I wasn't a reject. I was just kind of like just floated around the middle. Like I could hang out with the goth kids. I could hang out with the sporty kids. I could bounce around a bit in high school. Like when I was younger, I definitely had bullies and I had issues like with my identity and making friends. But by the time I got to high school, like there were so many different personalities and identities. Like you could just try on all these different hats.
Yeah.
And it was fun, actually.
Yeah, I would say my place in the social hierarchy was being the funny, scrappy friend. I was the girl that guys would approach to get information on my much more attractive friends. I was like the easy.
Oh.
Yeah. I helped. I was the consummate wing woman. I was not the person who was like sought out. I was more like, hey, is your friend Leah single? Like, hey, do you know Lauren's number? Like, I was not the girl that people were like pining after at all. But I also think that I was a connector and I still feel like I play that role like in our group of friends, where I had a lot of different groups that had some overlay. And so when everyone would get together, I felt like I sort of played that role of the connector because I had a low stake in the game. You know what I mean? Wasn't super popular, wasn't a total reject. I just was in like that sweet spot.
Yeah. So we were kind of samesies.
Yeah. Let me ask you this about band camp. Were you in band when American Pie came out? And how much did that line one time in band camp, how much did it haunt you?
All the time. I was just really grateful that I didn't play the flute.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was a very common phrase.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we did, band camp happened like a couple of weeks before the school year started because they wanted us to get ahead on like the marching routines. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
No one was safe if you were in band.
Nope. And that was also when like Chappelle Show was really big. So quoting that was peak coolness.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What? Okay.
Nailed it. Perfect execution.
Thanks.
But that brings up a good point of, today I saw somebody phrase it in a way that I'm going to butcher right now. But when we were growing up, we had personalities. And today, everybody has a personality disorder. So we grew up and we were like clumsy. And today they would say like, I just have spatial, disassociation. Everyone has like their traits. They don't have full personalities. We didn't get to identify our quirks by some social science phrase, the way that Gen Z now, like they're not going to say, I'm shy. They're going to say, I suffer from social anxiety, right?
Oh my God, you're so right.
Yeah.
Attachment styles, love languages.
Yeah. Everybody is like a series of traits, whereas we were just people whose personalities, that was just like part of our personality,
Yeah. I remember a common phrase is like, I'm so random.
Oh, so random. So random. Mm-hmm.
I remember saying that all the time. I'm so random.
Of the time.
And like that's cool. It's cool to be random.
Mm-hmm. Another pivotal moment of growing up were your sleepovers. And I know that people are still doing sleepovers today, right? But when you had 5 to 10 girls in a basement and a landline phone The joy of prank phone calls on a sleepover.
Oh my gosh. That and doing choreography from like Christina Aguilera music videos. Like that was one of my favorite social media trends a couple of years ago. Is like seeing millennials post their like childhood choreography comparing to what it is today.
It was just like hand, down, like just the simplest movements ever. Yeah, I loved those videos where it cuts back and forth to just like girls doing the most provocative dances and us being like, bye, bye, bye.
But yeah, the prank phone calls. I remember one time I accidentally well, it wasn't an accident. I think I was just curious. I called 911.
Oh, no.
And then somebody answered immediately. And I was like, oh, this was a terrible idea. And I hung up.
They don't like that. They
called me back.
Yeah.
They called me back and reprimanded me.
Oh, yeah. The shame.
But yes, prank calling was peak
millennial. I actually yesterday had to explain the concept of prank phone calls to my kids. Because you got to think in today's world, it's like mostly ineffective. Like you are icing a call if you don't know the number. You're not even answering it, right? And you can call them back. I don't know how kids are like blocking their number. I'm sure there's ways to do it, but
yeah,
it almost like doesn't make sense to them. So I literally had to explain that concept. I'm like, you guys don't understand. There were entire television shows based on pranking.
Crank Yankers.
Crank Yankers was one of them. Or there were full-blown albums. The Jerky Boys would make entire record of them pranking random people. And the kids, like, it didn't land with them. They didn't understand why you would do that. And I'm like, you have no idea the joy of executing a prank call. And your friends are just like dying. They're wheezing in the background. They can't handle it. You're trying not to look at them. Everybody is just crying, laughing. The best, the absolute best.
So good. So good. To feel included in a slumber party was one of the best feelings.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And I didn't get invited to many. Like, I had friends whose houses I would stay the night at, but like slumber parties?
Yeah.
Where there's like a group, that was so rare for me.
When I was really little, my parents have always been very strict and conservative. So when I was really little and slumber parties were really starting to get hopping in like 5th or 6th grade, if they were playing a PG-13 movie, my parents would pick me up before they would start playing it, and I wouldn't be allowed to spend the night. I remember in 6th grade getting invited to a girl's birthday / slumber party. She's like, what are you guys playing? What are the movies? Because you weren't just streaming it. You didn't have endless possibilities. You had to go to Blockbuster. You had to go to your movie rental store and pick it out. It was a thing. And you better hope that nobody else took the 5 copies that they had of this movie, right? So it was a plan set in motion well before the slumber party started. And at this particular party, they were playing Untamed Heart, which was with Johnny Depp and Marissa Tomei. And it was like the heartthrob movie, like the romance movie. And my mom was like, nope.
Oh, and you didn't get to watch it?
It's PG-13. I was 11. It's not like it was a rated R movie, but they were like, nope, sorry. And they picked me up before they would even let the other girls start watching the movie. Oh, it was so sad.
Sucks.
I know.
Fun fact, the last remaining Blockbuster is in Bend.
I know.
Where I live now.
Yes.
So that's a fun, like, nostalgic adventure. Like, yeah, movie stores.
What a time.
I was going to Hollywood Video every Friday night.
Yeah.
Every Friday night.
Yeah, we had just like a local place here, and I knew some of the people that worked there, so they would like hook you up. They'd like set it aside, like, we got you. So good.
Since we're talking about movies, actually, I want to talk about how like what movies you were into indicated how cool you were. Like this was another cool meter, and Donnie Darko was pivotal. Pivotal.
It was just like, have you guys even seen Donnie Darko? Like, I remember going to college, and that was like the litmus test. Like, oh, you don't know Donnie Darko? Okay, well, let me show it to you. And someone in my dorm had the director's cut. And they're like, I got the director's cut. I'm like, oh my God, you're so cool. Yeah. I was definitely kind of a snob because the group of people I hung out with in high school, like primarily my boyfriend and my best friend's boyfriend were huge movie buffs. They would actually make their own short videos. And I think 2 of them actually work in the film industry to this day. I know one of them at least creates movie soundtracks. Like he helps score some movies. I think it's his job.
Wow.
And I know several people that I grew up with that are in Hollywood in the movie industry. So I was surrounded by people who already were like buying cult classics, old movies, underground indie films. Like this was the time of indie films where they really had their moment. So I remember kind of being a snob about what people were watching. And the thing that you have to realize, not only just movies, but also music, your tastes were on display because we had to have physical copies. So everybody had that stand of CDs, or it was like pop, 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 pop. You could see everybody's CDs.
Or the book in your car.
Yeah, or the book, and you would see exactly all of the different titles. And like in your home entertainment system, you would just have a slew of movies out. So everybody knew right away, this is the kind of movies that you watch. And it was just really easy to like judge people based on that.
Just a whole other world of judgment.
Yeah.
People get judged excruciatingly these days, but it felt more personal back then.
You couldn't hide it. You couldn't hide it as much.
You couldn't hide it.
Because of the tangible nature. We weren't so deep into the digital age where you could have a separate online presence than you did in real life. Like many of the things that made you who you were on display in real life.
Yeah.
And posters. You had to have a movie poster.
Oh, and that carried on into
far too long.
Post high school, yeah. I specifically remember I had the Train Spotting poster, and it was the thing that he says at the end, like the whole spiel. I had it in a frame and everything.
Yeah, everybody had the Fight Club poster. Everybody had Dumb and Dumber. I think I had the Dumb and Dumber poster in my dorm room. Like, there were just some iconic movie posters. Independence Day, that was a great movie poster. Like, you actually knew what movie posters were because there was one image that they went with. Whereas, like, today, you have multiple different images and tiles. And I don't know that one image is always so tightly coupled with the movie or even the soundtrack. But back then, you needed to let everybody know, I loved this movie.
Yep. I remember the poster section at like Spencer's and Hot Topic. That's where you would go. I want to see what posters are up today.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm going to hang them up with thumbtacks.
Yeah.
Or what, Silly Putty?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. And that was our aesthetic. There was no aesthetic, by the way. We didn't have aesthetics. Your aesthetic was either movie posters or random bar signs.
And band posters.
And band posters. Yeah, obviously. Music posters, album posters. Or if you had money, random things from Pier 1.
Yes, Pier 1. Mm-hmm.
Everybody had that like layered circle plate wall hanging thing.
Dude, I had that till like 2013.
Yeah, same. I had it for far too long.
And that was like my favorite. It was the feature piece.
It was the feature. Where are we you moved, you're like, we got to put this. This is the centerpiece of the living room. Where do we put it?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. What a time.
Yep. Oh my gosh. I bet I could find a picture where that's in the background.
Yes.
No doubt. No doubt. So we've talked a ton about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the 2000s nostalgia, the things that shaped who we are and the things that traumatized us for life. But what are some of the stuff that we actually secretly miss? Like, what kind of rituals did you have with your friends that actually like bonded you? And you look back at that memory like with fondness.
I think what I miss that you can never get back when you're older, right? Some of these things that you miss, like you just will age out of forever. But the spontaneity of life at that time. Because we weren't living our lives online, we weren't living for anybody else but ourselves. And that really allowed you to live spontaneously, whether it was riding your bike and you pass someone's house and you see all the other bikes in front of it. So you're like, oh, everyone's here. I'm going to go hang out with them. or whether it was, staying on the phone all night with a girlfriend, or just at the last minute deciding to go somewhere, or just being your weird, quirky selves. Like, we weren't living for an external audience. We were just living for where we were in that moment right then.
Yeah.
And we also weren't so obsessed with capturing the moments digitally.
We couldn't.
You couldn't, most of the time we just had the disposable cameras, and you didn't even know what kind of images you were capturing until later.
I do recall taking photos. I had a 2-megapixel camera, and you could select sepia tone.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, just that time before living for the world externally and living without fear of being perceived. Because in today's culture, you have so many young people who are afraid to even be perceived in any type of way. To be cringy, to be trying too hard, to do any of those things.
Yeah.
And it really holds people back from living an authentic life. So I just missed that period of time where life happened.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like now, because of social media and the way, the 24-hour news cycle, everyone is constantly plugged into what is happening all around the world. And social media, you're seeing people's accounts from all around the world. Technology wasn't at that point when we were in high school. And so, it was still kind of insular.
Mm-hmm.
Your social media is the people that you live with in town.
Right.
You're right. You're not living for anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're trying to still, put out a certain persona because you want to be perceived a certain way by your peers, but it's not 8 billion people.
Yeah. And I would say the downside of that is I didn't know how to take a good picture of myself for years.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? You look back at pictures of you in high school and you just have the big toothy grin and you're like, hey, don't even care. Yeah, we didn't know. We didn't have the practice. And I remember my sister-in-law, who's 10 years younger than me, she was in high school when digital cameras, and she was at the very forefront of posting everything online. And I remember seeing a picture of her. I'm like, oh my God, this is a gorgeous picture. And my mother-in-law was like, do you know how much practice she has had with taking pictures of herself? That's all they do. They take a picture on their digital camera. They see if it looks good. They delete it. They take an even better one. She's like, they know exactly how to pose and look perfect in pictures because they didn't just have one shot with the disposable camera and you didn't know until months later that it was a good picture.
So much work.
Mm-hmm.
So much work.
So I miss that.
And it's so funny when you talked about staying up all night talking to your bestie on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
I talk on the phone all the time. And I think that's why I hate talking on the phone now.
Same. I used up all those minutes in high school and in college. And now you really have to have a life crisis for me to be on. Or with my best friend, Leah, who's the only one that I can tolerate talking that long on the phone to.
Truly. And what from our childhood did we carry into adulthood that you wish you hadn't? For me, I learned and I know it's become more common in recent years, boundary setting.
Oh.
We obviously had no idea what that was when we were in high school. I didn't know how to set boundaries. It took me till my 30s.
Yeah.
To even understand what that meant. And the desire to be liked outweighed the necessity to protect my own feelings.
Yeah, I think that is something I carried for until even today, is just understanding how to set those boundaries and stick with it. In fact, an example, my mom and I were watching Shark Tank last night, as you do when you're with your mom. And there was a really young entrepreneur. She must have been 23 years old. And she had asked for a certain percentage of equity, and it was 5%. And they countered at 20. And she said, I can't go any higher than 15.5%. I just can't do it. And they're like, 20 or you lose the deal. She's like, okay, I'll lose the deal. I said, I can't go past 15.5. And she's like, well, see ya. And walked out. They're like, yep, they couldn't do it. And the next person is like, I can't go past 15%. They're like, what about 30? She's like, okay, I'll take it. And I'm like, this is the generational difference. The older generations, we are trying to appease still, and we are trying to make other people comfortable. Whereas Gen Z, they have very firm boundaries, and it pisses people off, but they're not moving. They're not budging.
It's admirable.
It is admirable. So I think growing up in today's if I was young today, I really wonder if I would be the kind of people pleaser that I am now, because you not only needed to be liked so much during that time because there were so many personality tropes that you did not want to be. You didn't want to be the nerd. So how many movies did we see where it was like the nerd group at school, right? Or the weirdo, the goth weirdo. Just there was those weird tropes that you didn't want to be grouped into. And the groups were very binary, very black and white. And today, kids get to grow up with an array of personality traits that they can collect, and they can become different people to different audiences and kind of move through life a little bit easier in that sense. Whereas we were just desperate to not be boxed into some of the unsavory tropes.
It's true. In fact, obviously, we didn't use that term setting boundaries back then, but there were people who knew how to set boundaries, and they were always the coolest. Like, when they would set those boundaries, like, no one could change their mind. You're just like, mad respect. Like, how do they do that? That's so cool.
Yeah, 100%.
That was not me.
It was not me. Mm-mm. So let me ask you this. What do you wish that you could tell your younger self?
Ooh, I wish I'd had time to think about this one, because there's a lot. There's a lot to unpack. But I think one of my biggest regrets was focusing too much on boys.
Yeah.
Honestly, and like I was in some really unhealthy relationships. I didn't know how to be in a relationship. I had terrible role models. So of course I didn't know what I was doing, and it just caused a lot of pain and anger, and like that was time that I could have been focusing on friendship more. Like I still, had plenty of great times with my friends, but I was consumed when I was, dating a boy, like, what we were arguing about, whether or not they were mad at me, whether I was mad at them. They started liking someone else. Like it was all consuming, and I hate that. I hate that.
Yeah.
So I would just want to tell myself, like, dude, don't even stress. Don't even stress. You're going to have plenty of years of bullshit with boys. Like, don't do it in high school.
Yeah. I would definitely echo that. I think I was very boy crazy and was just in one relationship after another up until, I don't know, like 6 months ago. I feel like I just have centered men for probably a very long time, and that started when I was younger. So definitely that. Another thing which sounds counterintuitive, because I know a lot of influencers today would be like, nobody's going to look back and worry about what you look like when you're 20. It's like, enjoy the extra pizza. Enjoy, you know what I mean? Don't worry about what you look like. I'm going to say, girl, it wouldn't kill you to pass on dessert for the entirety of your freshman year. I treated that cafeteria like an all-you-can-eat buffet. I was like, boom, I can have whatever I want. And I gained so much weight my freshman year for no good reason whatsoever, other than like availability of food that I didn't really get to eat when I grew up in a very like strict household. I would just say, girl, don't be afraid to get on that treadmill. You know what I mean? Like you
That's so mean.
But only in the sense that like when I finally did start working out, I really enjoyed like the transformation that my body would have, not necessarily from an aesthetic standpoint, but it felt good to be strong. It felt good to eat healthy food. It felt good to like be healthy. And when I was a freshman, I was just like, trash bag, pour trash into my trash bag mouth. Like I had no sense of working out or being healthy or anything like that. So I would say like, girl, just tone it down on the cherry pie.
So the 2000s were chock full of unsupervised emotion, performative sadness, and we somehow turned that into real connection. It's definitely a unique connection. It's not something that can be replicated today, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think our upbringing was unique in the sense that we really witnessed a revolution happen in the way that we communicate. But what stayed true were the ways that we created our social bonds, many of which you and I still have to this day. So thank you, Millennium, for turning us to the people that we are today.
Perfect. Moving on to Class Act of the Week. Whether it's big-hearted, bold, or just beautifully human, this is the moment where we like to spotlight someone who's doing it right. This week, it's Deborah's turn. What you got, Debbie?
So my Class Act of the Week could not be any more perfect for the content of this episode and when it's going to air, but my class act of the week goes to my best friend, Leah. You've heard me talk about her probably in every single episode. Honestly, when you do a podcast about friendships, it's hard to not talk about your best friend. But she has been a day one stan of this podcast. She, like I mentioned, is the only person that I can talk to for hours on the phone and still have things to talk about. And we've not even lived in the same city since we were 18 years old. We have lived hundreds of miles away from each other for the majority of time that we've known each other. So I think it just speaks so much to how formative we were to each other's lives that we've continued to be anchors and systems of support for each other through just all of the highs and lows that life can offer. And when this airs, it'll be her birthday week. So
Aw, happy birthday, Leah.
Birthday, Leah. And thank you for always supporting me through every phase of my life, even when I was my worst version of myself. So love you so much. And I hope you have the best 42nd birthday ever. Going to put you on blast for your age. Still older than me, but love you so much.
Yay! Happy birthday, Leah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great class act. Time for our favorite segment, Class or Crass. This is where we give a scenario and decide whether it's classy or crassy. Are you ready?
I am ready. Let's go.
Here's the scenario. You post your breakup receipts, text, screenshots, red flags, all of it, on your Instagram stories. No names, but it's obvious who it's about. Is it petty or is it powerful?
I mean, I'll tell you one thing. It sure is tempting to do. It sure is tempting to do. When you go through maybe a messy breakup or when someone reveals themselves to you in a way that completely burst the bubble as to like who you thought they were. Yeah, sometimes it is so tempting to be like, you know what? I'm just going to let everybody know because who cares?
And the 2000s version of this would be to print out AIM message because you couldn't take screenshots back then.
No. At best, you could copy the AOL conversation and put it in the body of your bio in Instant Messenger. Maybe even as the away message, but maybe you want to be real messy and like put it in the bio.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could definitely sometimes put people on blast like that.
But it's messy. It's messy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that there's a classy way to do that. Like, it's very intentional. You want to make a mess. You want it to be messy because you're angry, you're spiteful.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Because, okay, here's the thing. Is it really the other person's fault? Like, were they really the ones that fucked up and hurt you?
Mm-hmm.
Or is this just a relationship that didn't work out and you want to ruin them?
Right. I would say there are some circumstances where you might be doing someone a favor by showing them someone who has been a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? If there is really bad activity like abuse or stealing or something reprehensible and yet doesn't quite meet the bar of being illegal, then I can see the need or the want to. I don't think that it is classy because, like you said, it's one slice of your time together. And it's also putting yourself in a very vulnerable position because you think that they don't have receipts on you. You really want to open up that door to them being like, well, you know what? I wasn't going to share our messages either, but here's some pictures she sent me. And here's what she said about her best friend when she was mad. Like, Do you really want to be in a public war with somebody?
No, never. That's mortifying. It's one of my worst nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between being transparent and being reactionary.
Yeah.
And this sounds like a very reactionary response.
Yeah.
Personally, would I send screenshots to a group chat of all my besties? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But social media?
For the world to consume, yeah, it's too messy. I mean, classy is messy, but sometimes messy is just messy. And this to me is too messy. And honestly, the classier route is a move I like to call where'd she go?
Ooh.
Okay, where'd she go? You break up, you block them, you unfriend them, and you unfriend every mutual that you had that you no longer want as like a connection with that person. So maybe it's their family members, their close friends that may have connected with you on social media. You remove every single one of them. You go no contact, and you're just, where'd she go?
That is classy, actually. You just reminded me of a story I read on Reddit ages ago. She came over to his house one morning to surprise him with breakfast and a video game that he had been wanting, only to find out that he was asleep in bed with another woman, and that other woman was his ex. So he didn't hear her come in, so she just closed his door, left his breakfast and game on the kitchen counter, along with her key to the house. And then she went to her car, deactivated her Facebook, blocked him on all forms of social media, called the phone provider and changed her number.
Yes.
Texted family members and close friends that they were no longer together and to block him on their social media as well. She didn't tell them why. She was in a position to end her lease early at her apartment, and she started a new job in a different city later that week. So she like ghosted him on a whole other level.
Yes.
How cool is that?
That's what you do. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? You got to do that every once. And I'm not saying that everybody should do that in a breakup, right? Sometimes you can be on good terms. Sometimes it's not so painful to have, mutuals in your life anymore. But if someone does you dirty like that, you give them nothing. You literally give them zero, and you leave them with nothing but questions. And that is the classiest way.
Yes, sure is. It's classy and it's delectably messy for them.
Yeah. And when someone goes to your page, you've scrubbed all information and you never acknowledge the breakup and you just seem unbothered. That's classy lady right there.
Chef's kiss. Sure is. Oh.
So in conclusion, posting receipts, it's crass.
It is. It's crass. Declared.
So there you have it. Proof that growing up in the early 2000s was a weird, wonderful, and occasionally warped experience.
From burned CDs to breakdowns in the Abercrombie dressing room, we really were just out here trying to be cool and survive middle school/high school.
If this episode made you laugh, cringe, or want to update your AIM away message to a dashboard confessional lyric, send us your favorite 2000s memory. The more unhinged, the better.
Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Art of Classiness, and don't forget to leave us a review. We want to hear it all. Your top 8 drama, mall crushes, and whether you also cried to the used in your bedroom.
We'll see you next time. And remember, classy is a state of mind.
So mind your classiness. Bye.